Hello and welcome to the 1994 Formula 1 World Championship season preview, brought to you by Mircoprose and GP2 Joey. Last season was without doubt one of the most exciting in the history of the sport, which culminated with a final race title showdown on the streets of Adelaide last November for the fourth time in 5 years, as Brazil's Ayrton Senna returned from injury to emphatically claim his third World Championship for Williams-Renault ahead of Ferrari star and British hero Joey Davies. This year, it's all changing F1 as the driver gizmos and active suspension are all banned, and the sport sees the return of refuelling after an absence of 11 years. So let's get underway with a run through of this year's calendar. We kick off the year in Senna's backyard of Interlagos and the Brazilian Grand Prix before heading to Japan for the Pacific Grand Prix at the newest track on the calendar at Aida. Imola is next up on the San Marino Grand Prix as we head to Europe for the first time for the third round before the habitual trip to Monaco, where there is no room for error around the tight and twisty streets of Monte Carlo. Round 5 is the Spanish Grand Prix at Barcelona before we head to Canada for round 7 and the Circuit de Gilles Villeneuve in Montreal before returning back to Europe and the French Grand Prix at Magny-Cours for round 7. Silverstone is next up for the 8th round and the British Grand Prix, where Davies has reigned supreme the past few years and will be looking for the top step again, no doubt, in front of his adoring home fans. Round 9 sees the first of the super fast tracks this year as we head to Hockenheim for the German Grand Prix before heading over the Iron Curtain to the tight and twisty Hungaroring for the Hungarian Grand Prix. Next up, it's the scenic, sweepingly fast and majestic Spa-Francorchamps for round 11 and the Belgian Grand Prix before we travel to F1's fastest track of them all for round 12, Monza, and the Italian Grand Prix, which sees the return of chicanes this year following Senna's almost fatal accident last year, where the average lap speed was an incredible 180 miles an hour. Round 13 sees the return of the Jerez circuit after 4 years in southern Spain for the European Grand Prix, before F1 heads out of the continent for the final 3 flyaway races of the year, starting with the 14th round and the American Grand Prix, which was sensationally moved from Watkins Glen to Road Atlanta at the 11th hour last month by F1 Supremo Bernie Ecclestone after consultation with the Grand Prix Drivers Association on the grounds of safety. As usual, the season ends as we first head to Suzuka for the Japanese Grand Prix before the curtain-falling Australian Grand Prix and the 16th round on the streets of Adelaide. Will we see yet another dramatic and exciting championship-deciding final race in 1994? It was estimated by many at the end of last year that this season could prove to be one of the most competitive, and this year's winter testing has certainly underlined that belief, but a spate of heavy crashes culminating with the accident that befell Brabham test driver Kelvin Burt at Imola last month has seen tyre supplier Goodyear introduce their smaller tyres a year earlier than planned in an effort for the sport to slow the cars down by around 2 seconds a lap. Now with the pre-season testing all complete and the Goodyear tyres given a large thumbs up by the teams and drivers, let's run through them all and assess their chances of success in 1994. For defending constructor champions Williams, the start of 1994 could be difficult, even for defending driver champion Ayrton Senna, as both team and driver have struggled to extract speed from their FW16 chassis. Teammate Damon Hill stays on for another year, but the Briton is expected to remain in the Brazilian shadow throughout the campaign, and engine supplier Renault could well struggle to supply both Williams and rivals Ligier Prost with parity, and political fireworks are expected. But overall, Williams and Senna remain favourites to claim top spot again over the course of the year. Tyrrell have shown well in winter testing, and their new car seems easy to push for drivers Johnny Herbert and Bert Schneider as the team look to progress up the grid with an all-new Porsche Works engine deal. But will they be reliable once the heat is turned up to the max on race weekends? There's no doubt that Benetton Ford have been the stars of winter testing so far, with German pairing Michael Schumacher and new signing Heinz-Harald Frentzen both setting competitive lap times on light and heavy fuel loads. Both are expected to compete for wins this year, possibly from the first round, but can the Enstone squad maintain their advantage and gun for a first World Championship? Now relieved of the overweight and underpowered Chevrolet engines, McLaren move on to their 4th engine supplier in as many years, and whilst they continue to hound Ford to give them parity with Benetton, For the moment, the customer engines are what drivers Mika Hakkinen and new signing Martin Brundle have at their disposal. Winter testing has gone okay, but race wins seem far off this year, but perhaps there will be the occasional podium for the former champions. Pre-season testing suggests Footwork have improved over the winter, and with Christian Fittipaldi joined by France's young rookie and hope for the future Olivier Panis, there are those who suspect Jackie Oliver's team could throw up a surprise or two throughout the coming season, as the midfield battle looks to be very close. As ever, Jordan have had a decent winter, and the continuity of keeping the driver pairing of Rubens Barrichello and Eddie Irvine means the Irish team are in a good position to likely lead the charge for the midfield teams trying to break into the top 5 this year. Form seems to suggest Brabham have made a massive jump in performance over the winter, and with veteran Derek Warwick being joined by the super quick Dutch rookie Jos Verstappen, there remains a very real possibility that the Joey Davies part-owned team have made the step up to stay out of the feared pre-qualifying sessions backed by Ferrari engines. Sauber have looked impressively quick in the off-season, and there are many in the pit lane who even think that a win just could be on the cards for the Mercedes-backed Swiss team. In the drivers JJ Leto and Carl Vendinger, the speed is there, but will the team give them the reliability they craved so much last year, which cost them a bagload of points? Minardi have undoubtedly fallen back in terms of performance over the past few years, and it seems they are in for a similar year in 1994 if winter testing is anything to go by. Pierluigi Martini stays on for another year and is joined by the veteran Michele Alboreto, but can the all-Italian outfit manage to keep themselves out of the threat of pre-qualifying early enough in the season? Considering Ligier Prost have the same spec Renault engine as rivals Williams, pre-season testing appears not to have gone according to plan for owner-driver Alain Prost and Jean Alesi, with neither setting the timing screen to light at any point. Are they in for a difficult year? It's hard to tell before the racing starts in earnest, but Prost will be looking for his final year as a driver to be one spent fighting for the championship, that's for sure. Despite Davis running eventual champion Senna close last year, many expect the Briton to challenge once more for the title, but based on pre-season testing form, Ferrari will not be coming storming out of the starting blocks for the first few races. Teammate Gerhard Berger is expected to run reasonably well, but is largely expected to be overshadowed by his 1991 World Championship teammate. Larrousse will start 1994 in pre-qualifying, and the French squad will be looking for more reliability from engine partner Peugeot as drivers Philippe Alliot and Bertrand Gachot fight to break into race qualifying as quickly as possible. When Michael and father Mario Andretti saved Team Lotus and signed Chevrolet on a 3-year exclusive deal, they did not expect to find themselves starting 1994 fighting to get out of pre-qualifying. Nonetheless, the car seems decent enough, and the engine is a massive improvement over the power unit that handicapped McLaren so much last year. Michael's teammate Gilles de Ferran starred last season in his single outing for Ligier Prost in Spain, and much is expected of the young Brazilian in 1994. Until last week, Zakspeed were on the brink of collapse, but Bernie Ecclestone has brokered a deal for a German consortium to continue the team for the moment. With Yamaha having pulled the plug on their original deal with the team, Ford have stepped in at the last minute and will supply drivers Heikki Hattori and Stefano Modena with customer HBA engines, but there's no doubt that the team is a ghost of what it once was and may well struggle to even finish the first half of the season. As soon as the Mugen Honda engines became available last September, boss Keith Wiggins signed a deal with the Honda-owned engine maker, as he hopes, combined with drivers Mika Salo and rookie Ukyo Katayama, the team can progress regularly out of pre-qualifying this year and enjoy a far more successful 1994 campaign. As the first of the two all-new teams in 1994, Simtek have had a quiet pre-season testing program to get through. Roland Ratzenberger is joined from Pacific, and the Austrian is paired by Scottish rookie and former Williams test driver David Coulthard. Although the team will start the year in pre-qualifying, there are those who think Nick Worth's young team may just qualify for a fair few races this year. The all-new Bravo F1 project is an ambitious one to say the least, and for Spain's unofficial national team, the winter hasn't actually been too disappointing. Despite starting the year in pre-qualifying, owner Adrian Campos has elected to step down to focus on building the team, whilst Portuguese rookie Pedro Lamy has been signed as his replacement to partner with Spaniard Jordi Genet. So those are your drivers and teams for what is undoubtedly going to be a year of intrigue, excitement and fantastic racing, and we hope you're looking forward to it as much as we are. As ever, Thanks for watching, and we'll see you at Interlagos for the first round of the 1994 Formula 1 World Championship and the Brazilian Grand Prix.